Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 6, Dhyana Yoga, text number 8. Jnana Vijnana Triptatma Kutasto Viditendriyaha Yukta Ichitade Yogi Samalastrasmakanshanaha Jnana Vijnana Triptatma Kutasto Viditendriyaha Yukta Ichite Yogi Samalastrasmakanshanaha Samalastrasmakanshanaha Jnana Vijnana Triptatma Kutasto Viditendriyaha Yukta Ichite Yogi Samalastrasmakanshanaha. Jenske. Jnana Vijnana Triptatma Kutasto Viditendriyaha Ichite Yogi Samalastrasmakanshanaha. Jnana, by acquired knowledge. Vijnana, and realized knowledge. Tripta, satisfied. Atma, a living entity. Kutastha, spiritually situated. Vijita Indriya, sensually controlled. Yukta, competent for self-realization. Iti, thus. Uchite, is said. Yogi, a mystic. Sama, equipoise. Lostra, pebbles. Ashma, stone. Kanchanaha, gold. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Person is said to be established in self-realization and is called a yogi or a mystic when he is fully satisfied by virtue of acquired knowledge and realization. Such a person is situated in transcendence and is self-controlled. He sees everything, whether it be pebbles, stones, or gold, as the same. Purport. Book knowledge without realization of the supreme truth is useless. This is stated as follows. Atakshi Krishna nama di na bravad grayam indriya seva mukhe jivado swayam eva sparatyada. No one can understand the transcendental nature of the name, form, quality, and pastimes of Sri Krishna through his materially contaminated senses. Only when one becomes spiritually saturated by transcendental service to the Lord are the transcendental name, form, quality, and pastimes of the Lord revealed to him. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1-2-34. This Bhagavad Gita is the science of Krishna consciousness. No one can become Krishna conscious simply by mundane scholarship. One must be fortunate enough to associate with a person who is in pure consciousness. A Krishna conscious person has realized knowledge by the grace of Krishna, because he is satisfied with pure devotional service. By realized knowledge, one becomes perfect. By transcendental knowledge, one can remain steady in his convictions, but by mere academic knowledge, one can be easily deluded and confused by apparent contradictions. is a realized soul who is actually self-controlled because he is surrendered to Krishna. He is transcendental because he has nothing to do with mundane scholarship. For him, mundane scholarship, mental speculation, which may be as good as gold to others, are of no greater value than pebbles or stones. Jnana vijnana triptatma kutastra vichitendriyaha sarvalostra sama yukti trite yogi samalostra smakangshanaha. Person is said to be established in self-realization is called a yogi, a mystic, when he is fully satisfied by virtue of acquired knowledge and realization. Such a person is situated in transcendence and he is self-controlled. He sees everything, whether it be pebbles, stones, or gold, as the same. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutaya Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswatam Deve Gauravani Bacharane Nirvishesha Srinivadi Paskatyade Siddharne. Here it says he sees pebbles, stones, and gold as the same. So it sounds like he has some vision problem. But actually the word is sama, meaning equipoised, which is the same as Krishna sums up in different chapters in Bhagavad Gita, the same philosophy, just spoken in different ways, such as Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma Nishoshiti Nakangshiti, that if we're not hankering and we're not lamenting, then we see everything equally, because we see something, we discriminate between things because we think something will gratify my senses, or something will be detrimental to my senses, and therefore we either hanker for something, or we reverse to something, or we lament over something. But when one is not interested in sense gratification, when one is interested in Krishna consciousness, when one is actually absorbed in the spiritual level of consciousness, remembering Krishna and everything, and seeing everyone and everything in relationship to Krishna, then one has nothing to hanker for or lament over, because one is always in transcendental bliss. And therefore, pebbles, stones, and gold are seen, don't disturb one, in the sense that if one gives a pebble instead of gold, he doesn't become disturbed. And if he gives gold instead of a pebble, he doesn't become elated. On the other hand, it's not that a self-realized soul, when he goes to the store, he hands pebbles to the storekeeper rather than gold, because he can't see the difference. Or if he sells his car and he sells it for 1,500 pebbles, because for him it's all the same. No, he actually can see the difference, but he's not attached because he knows everything belongs to Krishna. Therefore, if he gains something, he knows it's not his gain, it's Krishna's gain. And if he loses something, he knows he hasn't lost anything, it's Krishna's loss. Of course, it's not that he doesn't care whether Krishna loses or not, because it's your problem, Krishna. But he wants to get as much as possible for Krishna's benefit, but if he doesn't get it, he understands it's Krishna's arrangement, and he doesn't lament. So, such a person is considered here to be self-realized, and he's not disturbed under any circumstance. On the other hand, by mundane scholarship, we may quote so many books of knowledge, and yet if we lose our pen, we become disturbed, and we have to go and see a psychiatrist. Just like now, we have this coronavirus. So many people are disturbed and are disturbing others, because for them, they don't know what to do. They're at home. What can they do? They go on the internet, watch the same old thing again and again, get tired of it, play some games, get tired of that, and then the only thing left to do is fight with their wife. It's the only thing exciting going on. And so people become disturbed. why don't you have a job? Because the wife says, because everyone's fired anyhow. I'm also one of them. Why don't you have a job? Because I was fired. Well, you're useless. Well, you're as useless as I am. On the other hand, if one actually had a positive engagement, such as hearing, chanting, and remembering Krishna, then one would take the opportunity and to actually become absorbed in Krishna consciousness. More than usual at least. And therefore one would not, and one would understand everything is under Krishna's control. There was nothing I was actually going to gain anyhow, and I haven't really lost anything, because everything belongs to Krishna. Of course, we hope Krishna gives us enough to eat, that's much we should want. What is that verse about life's desires? One should not desire material gain, but one should be satisfied with whatever he gets in order to maintain the body. What's in the first canto, second chapter? No, not that one. The one about jivasya jignasya, artho, jivasya jivana, or something about one should never desire fruit of results, but one should kamasya and pritira yavan irita jivasya jivasya. Yes. One should not desire to get the results of work, but one should desire to have a healthy life at least. Because if we're not healthy, if we're not self-realized and not healthy, then the result is that we become very disturbed. We think more about Krishna than we think more about our ill health than we do about Krishna. They say at the beginning of life, people sacrifice their health for wealth. And at the end of life, they sacrifice their wealth for health. We even see that many devotees in their beginning of Krishna consciousness, they're completely transcendental. They don't wear shoes when they go outside. In the freezing winter, they go out in a t-shirt because they want to prove that they're not their body. I know one Sankirtan party, they would go out for the week, and all they'd eat is raw. They'd soak the rice in water, and they'd eat the raw rice. And they'd come back for the weekend and gorge themselves with Mahaprasadam. And the other thing they do, they never take any advice that this is a formula for disaster. But somehow or another they felt that they were on the path back to Godhead. They were on the path to the hospital, that was for sure. That they achieved. So we should desire a healthy life, because the human form of life is meant to be cultivating Krishna consciousness. And on the other hand, any kind of material gain or loss, or seeing something better than another, is just outside, when we're not within the realm of Krishna consciousness, then we tend to value one thing as more important than another. Of course, one thing may be more important than another. It's not that we're blind to it, but this is in terms of our own personal sense gratification. We tend to treat people according to what we can get from them, rather than how much we can give them Krishna consciousness. So I'll stop there. Any questions or comments?
This purport says that you cannot grasp the name of Krishna by the blunt material senses, But one of our main practices is going on Harinam and singing Hare Krishna for the benefit of everybody. So how do we hope that they will hear with their senses our chanting of Hare Krishna?
Well, something gets through. It's not that you can't hear it all, but we just don't hear very much. What to speak of them, even ourselves, because we're covered, and the covering doesn't allow us. Just like if you want to have, when the feast comes, everyone gets quite enlivened. But then if you put a glove over your tongue, you try to eat the feast, it's not quite the same. Probably won't overeat at least. Similarly, because our senses are covered, therefore we don't actually experience with the holy name, fully at least. But everyone experiences something. If we didn't experience it, how can we chant 16 rounds or whatever we're chanting? If there is no experience, you can't, as Prabhupada used to say, chant water, 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 16 rounds of water, water, water. Because there's no experience. There is an experience, but it's not very positive. But we can chant Hare Krishna because there's an experience, because we're experiencing something. Question is how much we're experiencing, that's all. So similarly, people, if they're innocent, then they'll experience something when they hear the holy name. They may get some appreciation for it. And they can stand there sometimes during the whole Harinam and just listen, because they're experiencing something. Anything else? Yes.
When I was beginning to when I was becoming a devotee, I've been driving a car once, and a lady hitchhiked, and I had some CD with I think there were Prabhupada's bhajans, and she heard those things, and she started, a simple lady, and she started to cry, and she was overwhelmed, and then I gave her the CD, so that was my realization of I was too crooked to cry like this, but at least I saw the effect, and I was touched. I gave her a CD, and so that's it.
Probably should have gotten her name.
Yeah, I wasn't that far. I was keeping myself hardly in Krishna consciousness.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so it was. I should do more. Yeah, I should. Yeah, of course. Krishna.
Could have sold her a book.
Yeah. But yesterday I met the friend I was talking once a few days ago in the lecture, and I proceeded with my preaching. I took a step further and said that we are actually spirit soul, and that all spiritual traditions say about spirit spark that changes bodies. That's eternal. And he says, yeah, it's natural for him. He was speaking about I managed by your mercy to go further. So thank you.
Anything else? All right, thank you very much. Grantaraj Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.